Hello, hello, hello. Hi. That was creepy, wasn't it? Let's not do that again. Hi guys, welcome back to RhomanysRealm. I'm Romany. This is a live stream. If you are watching this as a replay and you've been watching a holding screen, please don't message me and tell me I'm rude for keeping my watchers waiting. This was a scheduled stream and I logged in early. Just skip it to the bit where it starts, okay? Don't email me. Today is a bullet journal surgery. I am not an expert on the bullet journal. Nope. I'm just reading the book and applying my own methods. What I am good at is coming up with ideas and solutions and ways to help other people, because I don't know what it is about my brain, but I don't see problem, I see opportunity. And that's not just like a self-help guru type, ooh, I see an opportunity. I really do. I don't see problems. I see ways of solving things. So if you're struggling to implement something in the bullet journal method that you've done so far, so we're talking about the beginning of the book, the beginning of the method, you're just starting out, or you've just swapped from being a BuJo artistic type journaler to trying out just the basics for a change, or you're doing it as One Book July or whatever, then if you're struggling with a particular issue, now is the time to ask. Put your questions in the chat in capital letters, okay? I'm having an issue with capital letters. Then I can see it and I can scroll through and I can find the questions, and we won't be here for 4 hours. We're not going to be here for 4 hours. I've set a timer. Because I have an appointment later and I have to eat in between. So, let me know what you're having issues with. I'm going to kick off with okay, we've got an issue with rapid logging from Burgess. Okay, so we'll do you first, Burgess. You know what? So I don't miss anything, I'm going to make a list. I don't quite know what to do with it in my journal yet, so I'm just going to... in fact, let me show you. How's that? There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to turn to today. I'm going to put in, let's see, it's an event, YouTube, Q&A surgery, and the issues people are having. We've got Burgess, rapid logging so far. Okay, so I'm going to kick you off, not with rapid logging, but with another question that I had, which I think is probably relevant to a lot of people. I've just got to check which account it's on. There she is. This lady messaged me and said, this is the lady who said the other day, I'm sorry, I don't want to disclose her account, so I'm ordering a copy of the book next payday. None of your libraries has it. Do you have Audible? If you don't have Audible already, you can sign up for the free trial and get the audiobook, so at least you can listen. Or go on the website and check out the articles and blog, because he does a lot of stuff on his blog. He's always writing on his blog. I think pretty much the entire book is already on his blog. It's just not as organised. Sorry, I'm just getting this up. So this is the lady who I spoke about before, who said, okay, I've set up my July system. I've written down all the things I can think of off the top of my head that I need to do in July. And now I've got 4 pages of tasks and I don't know what to do with them. So, she explained to me what her tasks were. And the bottom line is, I think she's a working mum with a large house, several kids, fur babies, and she's the caretaker. She has to look after it all. So she's doing all the things. And she needs to keep track of all that. So we talked about what her issue was and we broke it down. So the breakdown was tracking household chores, because she's the only person keeping track of cleaning the house. It's a big house and she needs to keep on top of it. So she's very organised about it, and she already knows when she does things. So we took that out as a chunk and said, okay, instead of having those as tasks that you're going to have to keep rewriting every month, because you know you have to do them, set them up in a separate collection. So she set up a daily collection for things that she does every day, or, well, not every day. I mean, you might pick up every day, or you might change towels every day, or something like that. She had some things that she did every day. She also had some things that she did once or twice a week. So I said to her, start with a weekly tracker. Write down things that you do daily, and write down things that you do on a weekly basis. Maybe you hoover twice a week, you mop the kitchen floor twice a week. And using Ryder's method, if you go onto his bullet journal YouTube, he's only got a few videos. It's really easy to find. There's one that's called Simple Habit Tracking. So instead of treating chores, which is a awful word, nobody wants to do chores, they're boring, change it to habits. Make your cleaning a habit. You habitually sweep the kitchen floor every day. Whoops. You habitually... that put me off. Sorry, that was my alarm to say if you haven't logged onto YouTube, you should be there. You're late. You habitually sweep the kitchen floor. You habitually empty the bins every other day. You habitually hoover once a week. Put all those in a list. Put the dots in only on the days that you do it. Cross them off. Okay? Then she did a monthly one. Now the monthly one, she's also got monthly or each month. So instead of just monthly and then she goes off and has to write it up again the next month, do it across 2 pages, a list of things you do, have one column that says monthly because you do it every month, then have a column for the last time you did it, if it wasn't this month, and then have the forward planning for your months. So August, September, October, November, December. So say you defrosted your freezer in January and you need to do it again around November. In your last done column, you could put last done in January 19, and your next dot will be in August. So when you get to August, you'll look down your list and go, oh, I haven't defrosted the freezer. Oh, I did it in January. Yeah, I better do that again now. Okay, so that's how she's doing her monthly stuff. Weekly stuff works the same way. And then irregular stuff, she's got on a separate list that's almost like forward planning. So she's got her, again, split by month. And under each month, it'll have things like get the washing machine serviced, or get the fire extinguishers checked, or, you know, the stuff that happens on a less than regular basis that you will forget about. Incidentally, since having that conversation, I went and checked my fire extinguishers and they're due in October, so I've had to put that on my forward planning list. I finally got something on forward planning. The next thing she had issues with was logging everything for the kids. So I suggested to her, if your kids are doing chores, use a family-friendly chores app. They've probably got phones. If they haven't, they can use your iPad or whatever. Just get them doing it. Offload it as a task that you have to do and put it onto them. And for the dogs and the cats, instead of trying to fit all that and cram it into your monthlies, like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, have a separate page for each fur baby if necessary, or one spread for the dogs, one spread for the cats. Write down sizing information, when they last had their jabs, any medications, all that kind of thing. That's what I intend to do for Maddie and Scooby. I've got it on my list, I just haven't done it yet. Okay, so that was how we addressed that. She has since set all that up and she's much happier. She's back down to half a page of things that she needs to do. The rest of it is all habitual cleaning and stuff that she just needs to stay on top of. She already does it. She just wants to make sure that she does it. Okay, so going back to rapid logging, Burgess, what exactly is the issue you're having with rapid logging? Ashley, I'm having an issue with being motivated to actually do everything I'm planning to do. Probably not the message's fault. Okay, that's an easy one. If you are not motivated to do stuff that is on your list of things to do, you don't really want to do them. Simple as that. So what you're not doing is your reflection. I've got a big video coming out. It's 45 minutes long. I couldn't get it any shorter. Tomorrow about the importance of the reflection. In a nutshell, if you are just constantly brain dumping, you're just putting stuff on the page. You're just constantly writing down, I need to do this, I need to do that, I must do this, I must do that. All you're doing is stress management. All you're doing is writing down a list of things that are being thrown at you. Not everything that gets thrown at you do you have to catch, okay? Some things you can say, oh, yeah, that's not important. Chuck it over your shoulder. Some things you can go, I'll get one of the kids to do that. Delegate. Some things are not your department. Yeah, that's hubby's department. Delegate. Oops, my pen went. Sorry. Let's not do that. Some things you don't care about. I give this as an example in tomorrow's video, and I do go into depth about it, so I'm not going to belabor the point right now. But let's say they come up to you at work and say, we're having a whip round for George from accounts. He's leaving on Friday and we're having a leaving do, and you're coming, aren't you? And your immediate reaction 9 times out of 10 is to say, yes, of course I'm coming. Here's £1. You know, there's a girl on TED Talks. I can't remember her name. It's on my website. I've put a link to it in the library. I can't remember her name. Sarah something, I think it is. She wrote a book called The Art of Not Giving an F. If you look it up on YouTube, put F*CK, that's the name of the book. We're a family-friendly channel, and I don't want to get demonetized, so I'm not going to say the name of the book. But it's an awesome book. Go and read it. And it's all about how you can say no to things that you don't want to do in the first place, and then not have to manage your time to work out how you're going to get out of it. So you say, thank you for the invitation. Unfortunately, I'm away on Friday. I won't be able to be there, but here's some money towards the collection. Because you don't want to look like a complete arse, right? You want to be nice about it. You want to be polite about it, but you really don't want to go. Guess what? You don't have to go. You don't like him. You've never spoken to him. You don't want to hang out with accounts because they're boring. You don't like the place they're going to. You don't want to eat the food. And you'd really rather go home at the end of the day and spend time with your family than hang out in a bar where it's too noisy with loads of people that you don't like and you have to work with all day. So why not just say no? And then that's something that you don't have to do. Apply that logic to your task list. So everything you're writing down, review it. Look at it and say, why am I doing this? If you are not motivated to do it, and it's vital, tough. Put on your big girl panties and go and get it done. Ryder says, if you've got jobs like that are vital, but you really don't want to do them first thing in the morning. Do your reflection and then say, right, today I'm going to do one of those jobs that I've been avoiding that I don't want to do. Go and do it. Be an adult, and then you've got the rest of the day to be free to do what you want to do and have fun. Tackle one thing a day that is vital. If it's important and it matters to you, then you will be motivated to do it. If it's important and it matters to someone you love or that you care about, or, you know, if you're a teacher, you probably care about your students, so something you have to do for one of your students, you're going to do it. You might moan about it, but you're going to do it because at the end of the day you care. If you have no motivation, you do not care. Why don't you care? Probably because it's not important. It's not important to you. It's not something you really need to do. It's not something you really want to do. Yeah, okay, you've got a big family and you need to put the laundry on. But guess what? If your kids are over 13, they can start earning pocket money. Teach them how to use the laundry. Get them doing it themselves. It's not hard. Even if you have to help sort them, you sort the clothes to make sure that nothing orange ends up in the whitewash. That's fine. You control the delicates. You know, even just getting them to do the sheets and towels. It's one thing less off your list. Teach them to do it. That frees your time up. You can do something else that allows you to monitor what they're doing in the same place, but is more productive for you, that you want to get done. That's what I would say. So first, why are you doing the things that you're not motivated to do? If you're not motivated, you don't care. Lisa, I'm having an issue with knowing what symbol to use. I have a video coming up on, what day is it? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. July 5th. Yes, July 5th. The importance of developing your own key. But the basics are, if the key isn't working for you, change it. For me, tasks always have been, always are, and always will be, forever and ever, amen, little boxes that I colour in. When I'm partway through a task, I half colour in a box. When the task is cancelled, I put a big cross through the box and I cross off the list. That's how I do it. That's how I have always done it. I'm not changing my system that works naturally for me. I don't want to have that moment of pause of, oh, I'm going out, which book do I have to take with me? I've eliminated that. I'm going to a coffee shop. I'm probably going to do some reading, bit of journaling. Right, bullet journal it is. Oh, I'm going out sketching. Right, leave the bullet journal at home, take the sketchbook. You want to do the same thing with your key. If you constantly have to go, oh, I don't know what symbol this belongs to, then you're not using something that's natural to you. So instead of trying to develop symbols or use symbols from the book, use whatever is natural. So if you write down an event, and for you, putting a big star next to it is an event, you will pick that up in your reflection. So when I started doing it, I put in the front of my book, I wrote the key in pencil. And as I noticed that I was changing things, I wasn't using a certain thing. So the first 2 days that I started doing it last week, the first thing I didn't even bother writing in dots in pencil, because I know that when I write down a task, I use a square. End of story, end of discussion. Now, the original bullet journal method, funnily enough, Ryder used to use squares. Somebody suggested this bullet point method, and then it went with the bullet journal method better because it was literally bullet points, and he took that on board, looked at it, and actually developed it or took it on board himself and said, oh yes, I like this much better than what I was doing. He developed his own system based on something that somebody else had come up with. Great idea, not knocking it in any way. If it works for you, it works for you. But for me, I need a box. I need to colour it in. And when I write down a task, the first thing I do is write a box. When I write a note, the first thing I do is put a bullet point. When I write subnotes or details, so I put in an event, I put a circle, and then underneath I put the information, I put a line, which they use for notes. But I don't have to sit and think about what key I'm using because I'm doing what comes naturally. So I would say ignore the key, keep a record of what you're doing, and when you do your reflections, make a note of consistencies. What do you use most often for tasks? What do you use most often when you write a note? What do you use most often when something is really important? Some people, when something is really important, they'll circle it. So maybe for you, on your key, you'd have to put, here's something Oops, I've gone off camera, sorry. Important. And that's how you'd mark it. That's how you'd know it was important. Right? So develop your own key. Video coming on the 5th. Right, where's Burgess gone? Having an issue with rapid logging. I'm backtracking a little bit. See, it's much easier when you put your... There she is. When I review for the next day or set up in the morning, I'm thinking about things I have to do. My daily pages and end up starting with an event or an appointment if I have one, but mostly it's a to-do list. Okay. The way I had this problem too. This is one of the reasons that I wanted to be completely purist about the bullet journal method and just do what he suggests. Note, when I decided that I was going to have to write down a list of what people's questions were, motivation to finish stuff. When I decided to write a note on this, I didn't immediately go, oh, let's start a new page. This is going to be a collection, YouTube, Q&A. You know, I wasn't prepared for it. I just went, oh, I better write that down. Okay. Here's my book. It's an event, YouTube Q&A surgery. Here's the information, here's the questions. So Burgess, rapid logging, Ashley, motivation to finish stuff, and so on. Okay? I don't need to put it as a task. I don't need to... Sorry, that autofocus is on, isn't it? I usually switch that off. Where's it gone? Where is the autofocus? There it is. Yes, and autofocus off. There we go. Hopefully that'll be better. Sorry about that. So yeah, anytime something crosses your mind, write it down. Don't get into the habit of starting your day with, here's what I have to do today, or starting your day with, ending your day with, here's what I have to do tomorrow. If that's what you're doing, you're not reflecting, you're simply reviewing your task list. Now, tomorrow's video is all about reflection. Another thing I bring up is reflection is not about checking off your tasks. It's about checking in with yourself. Think about that. I'm not going to insult your intelligence, Burgess, by explaining that to you, because I know you're more than capable of looking at that and going, oh, hang on a minute. If everything you're writing down is a task, you're not really thinking about what you're writing down. Does it have to be a task? Does it have to be a task today? One of the things that I'm trying to get out of the habit of is having a don't forget list in my head. Don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that, don't forget such and such is due on Friday, don't forget this, don't forget it. If it's not due today, it goes on the monthly task list. During my reflections at some point, I will look at my monthly task list and go, oh, I really ought to get round to that. I'll do it Friday afternoon. I've got some time then. That's planning, okay? If you are constantly writing down things that don't need to happen right now or don't need to be done by you, don't write them as a task. That is a really good thing to do. So write it as a reminder to yourself. Use the note bullet and put reminder, Maddie's vax due after the 14th. You know, that's the kind of thing I'm doing. Now I have that in my monthly, Maddie's vax due after the 14th. Yesterday I decided, actually I probably need to book that in sometime from the 10th onwards, because I don't know if they're going to be really booked up in advance or not. I might not be able to get an appointment for 2 weeks. It needs to be done between the 14th and the 28th. That's my 2-week window. So instead of saying I need to book it on the 14th, I'm now thinking, oh, maybe I should do it a bit earlier. So I've starred it as important. That's an important thing. No matter what else, I must make sure that I do that at some point. But it's not constantly in my head, or it's not constantly on my daily log going, don't forget, you need to call the vet, you need to call the vet, you need to call the vet, It's not taking up space up here, because when I come to do my reflection, I go, right, oh, important ones. Okay, yeah, no, that's okay. Oh, it's the 12th. I'll do that tomorrow morning. So that goes on tomorrow's task list. Also, like I said with the first lady I talked about who had repetitive stuff, if it's a repetitive thing that you have to do on a regular basis, for God's sake, get it out of your task list and put it on a tracker. Trackers are pretty. You can decorate them. They look nice. It feels really good to cross little boxes off all the time. So this is the kind of thing I'm using as a tracker. This is my video ideas. I don't mind showing the list because you probably can't read that. And if you can, your eyesight's better than mine because I can't. This is really simple. This is the date that videos are scheduled for. They're done. Up here I've got, if it's One Book July, it's got a bullet point next to it. If it's an Instagram, if it's a Patreon, or if it's a YouTube. And I put a little box where I want to do it and I tick it off as I go. It feels so good to tick these little boxes off and go, oh, I've done that. And then when I'm doing my review, I look at it and go, okay, where am I up to? I'm up as far as the 8th. And then this morning I said, oh, hang on a minute. I don't want to do videos over the weekend. I only want to do them Monday to Friday. That gives me a little bit of a buffer. Okay, so that one now becomes the 9th and 10th. That means I am a full week ahead, which means I don't need to record any videos for the next couple of days. I can just ignore it till, what day is it? Wednesday. At least Friday. Friday or Saturday I'll record a video, or I'll schedule it for Monday. I'll schedule to do one for Monday, for Thursday and Friday next week. One thing that Ryder talks about in his book, it's as far as tasks go, is keeping your to-do list down by, like we talked with Ashley, saying, why am I doing this? Do I really want to do this? Do I really need to do this? Is it vital? Does it matter? If it's something you want to do, that should take precedence over things that other people want you to do. Unless those other people are like dependent on you. If those other people are dependent on you, or, you know, you've said yes to doing something that you really want to do, like organising a family barbecue, then of course you're going to need to do that, even if you don't really feel like it today. So this ties in with motivation and what Ashley was saying. You don't have to do all the things right now. What one step, and this is a Ryder thing, it's not me, what one step can you take towards completing that goal? Okay, so one of your steps, I know a lot of people do Marie Kondo. Oh, one of the steps, clear out the closet. Well, yeah, that's a big step, but who wants to do that all in one go, right? Clear out the closet. Well, what do you need to do first? You might think, well, the first thing I need to do is get everything I own and put it on the bed, because that's what Marie Kondo says you have to do. But wait. Do you have a big pile of stuff in the laundry that you need to go through? Do you have a big pile of stuff that you're mending that you need to go through? Have you got stuff in there crammed in a bag in the bottom that you already know you don't want? You could take those out and take them straight up the charity shop. You don't have to do that job again. So that one thing today could be, I'm going to take those 2 bin bags of stuff I cleared out the last time that I didn't do this, and I'm going to take them up the charity shop when I'm in town tomorrow. That is your one step that you can do when you're in town tomorrow already. Take those bags and take them down to where you need to do. So what can you do today to further that goal? Well, if you're going into town tomorrow, why can't you take the bags out of your wardrobe now and go and put them in the boot of the car? So you don't have to remember to do it tomorrow. That's 2 tasks tomorrow. Take them out of the wardrobe and put them in the car. First, you have to remember to do it. So you've got it in your head that, oh, I must remember to do that. You don't have to remember to do it. It's not vital. It's not important. It's just something you want to do. So tomorrow's task, take it to the thing. Today's task, today's one step, take it out of the wardrobe and put it in the car. You don't even have to go through it. You've already done it. Take it out, put it in the car. Then, when you do your reflection tonight, event. Cleared the recycling out of the wardrobe to go to the op shop. That's no longer a task. It's an event that happened. It's something you achieved. So instead of writing it down as a task to do, you went and did it, and then you wrote it down as something that you achieved. Everline Timeless calls this a ta-da list. And there's several people who claim to have invented that, including somebody back in 2006. But I've known Everline since around 2002, and she's been doing it ever since then. So I don't know where all these people are saying they invented it, but I know for a fact that Everline Timeless has been using that for as long as I've known her. So it becomes an event, a ta-da, I did that. And then when you do your reflection, instead of thinking, oh, now I must put it on my task, do it later. Reflection. You read through, oh yeah, I cleared those out. Oh, that reminds me, I must put that on the task list for tomorrow while I'm in town. So you've got a task list, run errands in town, and then instead of having 15 different tasks, you've just got lots of notes underneath. Go to the post office, post this, that and the other. Don't forget to go and pick up a pair of sandals. Pick up veg from the market. Here's the shopping list. Shopping list's on my phone. Oh, and drop off those 2 bags at the op shop. That's how I'm doing it. That's what I took away from the way Ryder explained it in one of his videos, that wherever possible, you look at the why and you change things from tasks to events that have happened, so that you feel more in control of what's going on around you. And if you don't know where to start, or you just end up with task list, task list, task list, start breaking it down more. Okay. Looking for capital letters. Looking for oh, I don't get reflections because I write in my bullet journal all the time and go through it all the time. Yeah, you're constantly reflecting, Cody. You use yours in a slightly different way. What you could do instead of reflections, because you're like me, I'm always updating mine. I very rarely, the only thing reflections does for me at the moment is it forces me to go back to my monthly task list and see what I can do tomorrow to get it off the task list. And it makes me check in with the bullet journal app, which does mean that I don't forget to do it. But because I do it all day, every day, I don't really need to. So what you could do is use your reflection time, instead of using reflection as review your previous pages and update them time, perhaps use reflection time as journal time. That's what I plan to do. Because after 10 days now, I'm finding I'm not journaling. Well, I am journaling. I mean, look at all this. I've got journaling in here. But I'm not going back and revising things as much as I want to. I'm thinking maybe, like, for instance, I've got a note back here somewhere that I haven't looked at yet. It's back here somewhere. I had an idea. Here we go. I had an idea here about exploring retrograde planets in astrology. What does it mean if you've got a retrograde planet in your natal chart? All that kind of stuff, because I've got some books on it. I want to look at this some more. So I could use this as one of my reflections, particularly with evening reflections. I mean, morning reflections are useful for me because I put down things that have bubbled up in my head overnight. And it's a way of clearing the decks to start the day. I feel a little bit more stable if I know what's going to happen in the day, or what's meant to happen in the day. But my evening stuff I'm using more as, right, I do a quick flick through. Is there anything I need to do? Anything I need to make sure? Oh, I mustn't forget to do that first thing in the morning. That goes on the task list as a priority for tomorrow, so I don't miss it tomorrow morning. Once I've done that, I will go through and say, okay, what have I got that I want to... Oh, okay, let's expand on this idea. Let's journal about this event. let's take this one and let's find some more photos for this page, you know, that kind of thing. So instead of using it for review time, actually use it to reflect on bigger stuff. Yeah, reflection is in depth. I know the way Cody reflects, and she does do it a similar way to me, which actually is in depth constantly. So she is constantly going back and looking at things and checking things and going back to things. But expanding on things is a good use for reflection. You had this idea, what if I did such and such? Okay, so use your reflection time to expand specifically on that idea today. For reoccurring tasks, I have a permanent reusable spread with sticky flags and one task on each flag. I just move them from to do to done, to do to, oh, I can't read that. Reset it each week. Yes, that's a really good idea, Kim. That's a really good idea for recurring tasks. Or even have like, a lot of people use a... Where's mine? Damn it, I had it here earlier. Oh, here it is. It's in this book. A lot of people have one of these. You could do the same thing with these. So you could have one side could be your regular tasks and the other side could be do this week. And as you're moving it and you're moving it through and writing on it, you go, oh, okay, I've done that. Stick it on the back. Excellent idea. Like that, Kim. That would also be a good use for that stupid page at the front as well, where I keep my sticky notes. There's one at the back as well. Because all your page flags are not going to get dog-eared all the time. So, there's another one there, look. I use it for private information, like addresses and stuff. I forgot I had something written in there already. I hope that didn't show on camera too badly. But you could do it with the same with the back here. You could keep all your flags in here and then just put them on your day for what you want to do this month. Dots can turn to boxes. They can turn to boxes, but I don't like the fact that... Because my writing is so tiny. If I had a dot and then I turned it into a box, it would look like it was coloured in. I can't... For me, I can't do that. I like my boxes. I use notes. Because I grew up in the UK and we have a thing at school called Death by Bullet Point, which is how you learn with most teachers. For me, you have a heading and then you have bullet points for each point that you need to know about. So notes are bullet points for me. They always have been. Sub-items are lines because that's the next type of bullet point when you're using Microsoft Word. That's always how it's been and that's how my brain works. Issue with books and size. I use a Pocket TN and don't know if I should use one book or will it work with 4 small booklets. Okay. That's tricky. First thing to do is consider how much you're using your book. And you're not going to know that until you've used it for a bit. I bought myself a 400-page Moleskine Expanded. Because even though, with the possible exception of Carrie Harling, I have the tiniest writing in the entire world, and I can easily fit about 25 words on one single line, I write a lot. I've been using this book since the 24th. I've done no journaling yet, other than the occasional, you know, this is a little bit of journaling, this is a little bit of journaling. I've put a few pictures in, but I haven't really done any major journaling as I would normally do. And I'm already on page 35. So this book is not going to last me as long as I thought it was. I thought this would last me a good 3-4 months. I'll be lucky if I get through to the end of July with it, honestly. I might get through to maybe the middle of August if I'm lucky. And the only reason that is going to happen is because my notes for Patreon videos is actually going in my Hobonichi, because I keep all my work stuff together in my Hobonichi, so that I've got a record of what I've done each month, where the videos are, all the links, have I uploaded everything, is it all finished, and so on. That way I can just quickly look back. If I put my work stuff in here, this might last me a month if I was lucky. Maybe. So you need to work out how you're using your book. So I would say, if you like your Pocket TN, stick with your Pocket TN for now. If you feel that you're going to fill an entire book in a month, put 2 books in and have a book ready for next month. So that you can both be working in this book and push your next month's stuff into your next book, so you can forward plan next month. And then instead of having collections that you have to keep moving all the time, perhaps have one book that is all for collections and tracking. Because the last thing you want to be doing is writing out 6 different lists of things every single time you change your book. Maddie, stop eating the flowers. Good girl. So think about how you're using your book. Plus, if you've got really big writing, is a Pocket TN really going to cut it? If you don't write a lot, then maybe 1 page a day or 1 spread a day might be about right for you. But would you be better off with something a little bit bigger? Maybe moving to a B6 or just moving to a thicker notebook. Would you be better off instead of with just a Pocket TN with little thin inserts like you put in a traveller's notebook normally? Would you be better off with something like a Pocket Moleskin, soft cover Moleskin, that'll give you 190 pages to play with? You're not going to know until you've done it for a little bit. But if all else fails, just use what you've got. You can always add in post-it notes. You can always just pick up another book and add it in afterwards. I think the only real problem you're going to have is with collections and tracking. So put those separately in one book that stays in your TN, and then just keep changing your monthly notebook. That's what I would do. Well, I wouldn't. I would buy a big notebook and deal with it that way. But you know, if you must use a pocket notebook. Can you binge watch all the One Book July videos? Yes, go to youtube.com/OneBookJuly. There is a 2019 core video list from the team, which is me, Vicky, Mimi and Carrie. There is also a foreign language playlist, which we only have one. It's in Russian at the moment that I know of. There was one girl did one last year in Portuguese, but I couldn't find the link. I don't know if she's deleted it or something. But it's not in the playlist anymore. And we also have 50 odd videos in the 2019 YouTube One Book July 2019 community playlist. And as long as people are putting One Book July 2019, either as a hashtag or in the title of their video, that is adding to the list every day. It's about 48 hours behind. So if you've just uploaded a video this morning, it probably won't appear on the list till tomorrow night, Friday morning. Yes, Cody, you do need to do a video on how you use your book. Break time over. Okay, Franz, thank you for joining us. Monthly task list might be an issue. Monthly task might be an issue. Right, okay. Again, it's about how you review stuff. You don't write a monthly task list in advance. If you have stuff right now that you need to do in August, that's your forward planning. And that's what's supposed to go on these pages up here. Now, I am yet to use my pages. I don't see any reason to use a future log, because what I'm doing is putting them at the bottom of my page. So on my this month list, my July list, here's my monthly task list, and right down at the bottom I've got a note, MOT due in August the 1st. That's forward planning, but that's the only thing I have to worry about in August at the moment. I don't see any reason why I can't put that there and leave it there. Why would I take up loads of space here with it. I think I can use this much more functionally for something else. So I'm doing this at the moment. If it's an appointment, again, I adhere to the idea of, if you need to be reminded about it, find a way of being reminded about it. Don't just keep rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it 16 different places. I go through journals really fast. I go through planners really fast. I change my mind a lot. So all of my appointments go in here. All of them. My phone is always with me. So all of my appointments go in Google Calendar. And I know some of you might be going, oh, but it's an analog system. It's an analog system. Ryder says the bullet journal method is an analog system. Yes, he does. He also says that he has a separate appointment calendar and it's on his phone in Google Calendar, and it reminds him what he has to do because he sets notifications. That way he doesn't forget. That way it's not constantly on his mind. I have to remember to do this. You're on page 55 of your book and you started the 21st of June. Yeah, but you've got enormous writing, Burgess. You fit like 4 words on a line and 15 lines on a page. I've got 36 lines on a page, sometimes more, because I find myself writing twice because this gap annoys me when I'm writing. And I can fit at least 25 words across there. So I'm not really surprised you're on page 55. Oh, plus you're doing artwork as well, so I haven't done any artwork in mine yet. Believe that's what the future log is for, but I might be wrong. Oh, okay. I have a meeting on Thursday next week. As the monthly is to be filled out after and my next week is not written yet, where do I make a note? Well, if it's this month, put it on the monthly task list. Make a note, meeting on Thursday the, what'll it be, the 11th? Something like that. Meeting Thursday 11th and the information. You could even go as far as putting it on your rapid log. Here's another idea. You could put it on your rapid log if you need a lot of information, like if it's say it's a meeting with the school for Teacher Parent Day. That might involve a lot more information. So you could put it in your rapid log here, all the information, and then take the page number, 35, and put your appointment in here. So on the 11th, parent-teacher meeting, 6 o'clock, page 31. And then you've got all your information here. So you could do it that way. If it's for later in the month, you could just put it on here. If it's like the end of the month or the beginning of next month, you could just put it on here. So when you go to fill out your appointments, you can go and sort it that way. You could put it on your phone calendar, which is what I do with just about everything. And then if it's important, like today I have an astro meeting with one of my students. I've written that in as an event so I don't forget. I don't finish this and go, right, what else have I? Okay, I'm done. I won't do that because it's written here. And it keeps coming up on my phone going, you've got an appointment at 7 o'clock. You've got an appointment at 7 o'clock. You've got an appointment at 7 o'clock. Okay? So that's another way to do it. You could also use... oh, wait a minute. Wasn't it you who suggested using page flags for your daily chores? Why not write a page flag and put it on here? Why not write the information on a page flag? If all you need to do is parent-teacher meeting, Mrs. Elliott, 6 o'clock, room 7. Why not just do it like that? That way it's important, but it's not taking up room in your calendar, which is really for past events. You could put it in your future log. The issue I'm having with future logging, and I'm going to do a separate video about this, is that I don't look that far back in my book. To the point where I couldn't find my index. I mean, it's the first damn page in my book and I couldn't find my index. So I've had to use one of my bookmarks that I don't like to use for my index because I couldn't find my index, even though it's on the page 1. It never once occurs to me to go, ooh, I'll put this in here. Because the way my brain works, my future log shouldn't be before everything else. I don't understand the concept of having a future log that's back there. Because that way is behind, and that way is the future. So a future log, if anything, should be at the back of your book for me, but I don't want to put it there because I would never look at it. The other alternative is simply to say, you know what? I need to remember this. So there we go. Now I won't forget. If it's important... but my rule for that is if it's this month or within the first week of next month, it goes in this month somewhere. So that I make sure that as I'm reflecting and reviewing, I'm always constantly rechecking and going, oh yes, I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that. So every day I'm reminded that I need to book in Maddie for her vaccinations and I need to book the car in for an MOT test. Well, it's already booked in, but I've got to take it down on the 1st of August. Never thought of having one book or two bigger books. What, 2 bigger books or 1 book? I can't read that, I'm sorry. I don't have a busy life, so a larger book would be daunting. Okay, instead of using a larger book, use a thicker book. And think of it as, it won't be daunting then, because you're just making your book thicker, which in most people's brains just means it's going to last longer. So this journal now becomes in your head from July to December for the rest of this year. If you go through it in 2 months, it makes no difference. But you can train your brain to think about it as, oh, I'm going to probably be using this for the rest of the year. And then you could still have a little field notes or cahier at the back, a little thin book that has all your collections, so you don't have to keep writing stuff if you go through your book faster than you thought. And if you find books really daunting, just fill them with pictures. Honestly, just print out a couple of pages of pictures every week and all of a sudden you'll be filling up your book. It won't be a problem. Hey Murph! Long time no see. Your future log planning log goes in your phone, yes. Anything future goes on my phone with a relevant notification. And, you know, something like Maddie's Vax, I put it in on the 1st. So on the 1st, it reminded me. Then I moved that appointment on my phone to the 14th. Which means if by some magical wet thing, or God forbid I lose my book and I forget this somehow, this doesn't happen, at the very least, I've still got a backup. On the 14th, my phone's going to say, have you booked Maddie's appointment? At which point I'll go, oh, bugger! And go and do it right now. So, notifications are my friend. I don't have any notifications on my phone. Except for, like at the moment, I've got the One Book July Viber chat turned on. Because the girls are asking questions and having discussions and all that sort of stuff. I have my 2 best friends on Viber. Both have their notifications on. And I regularly go and check my Instagram DMs because that's where people contact me. So I don't have notifications on for any of that. But my calendar has notifications on, my bullet journal has notifications on, and my YouTube studio has notifications on for when people comment on my videos. And that's it. I don't have any other notifications on my phone. I don't need news to tell me, oh, there's an update, oh, there's an update, oh, there's an update. I can go in when I want to read the news and read the news. I don't need it to be telling me that I've got information in there. So it's actually a monthly log, not really a monthly task list. Yeah, well, it starts off as a task list. Mine has, anyway. This is how I understood it from the way he... looking at the way he puts his, it appears that he starts it off with the things I need to remember to do this month. And then as he finishes it, updating it, he starts using it as a log and marking events in and that kind of thing, and going back and taking, it's almost like a master list. Try using it as a master list rather than a task list. So it's a master list in that this is not stuff that you have to do today. This is stuff that during tonight's reflection, I'll look through this and go, okay, any of these I fancy doing tomorrow? Anything I need to do tomorrow? Everything I have to do tomorrow? Anything that is vital? Ooh, I haven't read any of my bullet journal method for a few days. It's Wednesday and I don't think I've read any since the weekend. So on tonight's reflection, I will probably put on tomorrow's rapid log right at the beginning. Event, I've got an Amazon delivery coming. Note to self, read some of the bullet journal method. But that's not a task, that's a note. A note, I don't have to do it, therefore it's not a task. It's not vital. But it matters to me, so I'm going to make a note of it and say, read some of the bullet journal method. If I don't get it done, it's not the end of the world. I can always do it later or do it in tomorrow's reflection. I might even decide to say, okay, I need to do some of that. I'll set aside an hour for reflection tonight and I'll read some of the bullet journal book. But you can use this as a master list, and anything that comes in during the month, just keep putting it on here. And then when you get to the end of the month, end of the day, end of the page, just create a new page for your monthly tasks and put them on there. Or, you know, stick one of those lined post-it notes on the page, or stick another piece of paper on the page so that you've got a two double list then, or something like that. You know, it depends. For you, it's probably best to just start another list or have weekly lists. So you might start with your monthly thing, might actually be, week 1 might be July tasks, everything you can think of you need to do in July. And then on Monday or on Sunday, you might set up one for week 2 and bring anything from this list into week 2. Purely because of how big you write and how many pages you get through. Personally cannot use a digital calendar, so I have to have a true monthly calendar in conjunction with my bullet journal. Yeah, but you don't necessarily have to have your calendar in here. I mean, you could just set up a calendar page. You know, you have your events page, your tasks page, and then a lot of people just set up a monthly calendar because they need to have a month at a glance. I got myself a wall calendar because that way, when I'm doing stuff here, I can just go, oh, when's that? Oh, it's on Thursday. Okay. You know, I can just quickly check it. It's up there. I don't need to worry about it. If you cannot get along with digital, totally understandable. However, have you really tried using a digital? A lot of people say they can't get on with the digital calendar, and really what they mean is they haven't really found a way for it to work for them. My digital calendar is not the way most people use their digital calendar. It is only for things that I have to do at a specific time. Only. A lot of people put all sorts of crap in their calendars. Only things that have to happen at a specific time are in mine. Check the time, 6 o'clock. We're fine. Cody's doing a video on hers. Yay! I don't use an index. I didn't use an index, but I'm giving it a try, and actually it's coming in rather handy. Because of the way I'm doing my reflections. Now, if your only way of reflecting is constantly going back and checking things in your book, which I totally get, you know, you've got ADHD, of course that's how you work. I have squirrel brain, so of course that's how I work. However, there are times when I sit down and I just take notes, or I sit down and I just brainstorm an idea, or I sit and journal. I write about something that has been on my mind all day. And those primarily are what's going in my index. I did have somebody ask about running out of room on your index. I thought that too, but what I'm doing is writing across both pages. So literally, this is the list, and on my daily logs, I've got daily logs June, and then I've got another one for daily logs for July, and I just write in all the things, and then I've got things like monthly reflections here. I doubt that I'm ever going to get to the point where I have to go across 2 pages unless my journal entries get there. My journal entries are all here. But I could just as easily say, oh, okay, well, actually 6 to 19 was June journal entries, so I'll move 31 down here and have journal entries for July. So then that breaks up my index into June and July and August, because this is my monthly page. So that's how I'm using my index. Honestly, even if all you did with your index was write June starts on this page, finishes on this page, or July starts on this page, and then just wrote down really important pages instead of using page flags, that's still an index. It doesn't have to be complicated. I use friction pens for future monthly and then erase them and put past items in its place on the master log. That's a good idea, Kim, yeah. I've done that with a couple of things for pencil, where I've just penciled it in about where I think it's going to be. And then when I'm happy with it, I erase it and put it in as a thing that happened, as opposed to something I'm got coming up. The only things I'm indexing are collections that I need to move into specific project books. Yeah, I don't feel the need to have, having done this now for 10 days, I don't feel I need to have daily logs. Here's the pages all my daily logs are in. I think it would be just as useful to know that June started on page 5 and finished on page 31. So I can go, oh, okay, here's page 31. So let me find what it is I'm looking for. If I'm only going to be looking at 30 odd pages for a month, well, that's a week. Maybe I won't feel the same after a month. Maybe I'll have 100 pages for July and then I'll really be in trouble and an index will be useful. I guess it depends how much you write. I would say write it down just in case, and then each time you do a review, like make a note of how many times you think you actually used your index during the month, other than to write things in it. And if you are not using your index in any way, shape or form, then don't bother with it again in the next book. But stick with it for a couple of months, because you might find, like I've got a 400-page notebook here. I might find I don't start using my index until page 350, and then it becomes useful. That's not the time you want to find out that you wish you'd indexed the other 350 pages, is the way I'm looking at it. But if I get to the end of the book and I find that I haven't used my index all that much, then I will change it or leave it out next time. Got an issue wrapping my head around having collections as we go along instead of for sections for this kind of info. Okay, I had an issue with that too. What I've started doing, and here's an example of one that I've got. I have regularly got in my rapid log, somebody suggested a book or a podcast, or I've seen something in an article and I've thought, oh, I want to read that. And what I've been doing is in my rapid logs, I've put a note of, let me find one. There's one here somewhere. I've put a note that it's a book rec or a podcast rec or whatever. Here we go, podcast recs. See how long it took me to find that? Just looking at 1 week's worth of stuff. Well, 10 days we're on now. Since last Monday, it took me that long to find it, even though I knew where it was. I knew exactly where it was on a page and everything, I just couldn't find it. So it would have been easier to go into here and go, okay, oh, media recs, 6, 8 and 31. It's going to be at the beginning, so it'll be about around page 8. Oh, look, there it is. There is actually method in this madness, and I'm sticking with it just in case it becomes useful later. If I get to the end of the book and it's not useful. So instead of starting a collection of, I must start a collection for this, I've started putting these as this, and instead of using, because I don't really use the forward log, he uses a backward arrow for things that go in the forward log. I'm using the backward arrow for things that go in my index. So I know that these and that bit of journaling there are listed in my index. So in here in my index, I've got a journal entry on page 8 and I've got a media rec on page 8. When I get to the point where I've got media recs on 6, 7, 8 pages, then I will go, maybe I should move all those onto one page. So I don't have to keep going back and looking at them. The only reason for creating a collection is to have things nearer to hand and all together. If it's a vital collection, that's how I did mine. Is it a vital collection? Well, I have a video collection here. I have a video ideas collection for YouTube. I didn't even bother writing down notes in my rapid logs for, here's a YouTube idea. As soon as I started having ideas for YouTube, the first 3, which is these 3, I wrote down in my rapid log for that day. And one of my tasks for that day, I wrote down, set up video ideas log. Because I knew that if I was starting to have lots of ideas, then I needed to have a place to put them. I didn't immediately go and start a collection and start moving things right then and there. It's not necessary to do it now. It's not that important. I just put it on my list, set up a collection for video ideas. With my podcasts recs, I actually put it on my monthly task and said, okay, I've taken my damn book. This is why I don't like bookmarks. See, I've taken my bookmarks out and now I don't know where my July thing is. I hate bookmarks. I'm going to cut these bookmarks off because I don't actually use them. I'm going to use my page flags. Here we go. Here's July. Let's put that there so I know where July is for now. So my podcast recs, when I did my end of month thing, I went through and said, I've got quite a few of those. I should do something with it. And on here, I put create media recs collection. When I did a review, so I didn't straight away set that up. I set up stuff that I actually really needed straight away. So things to post, that was important. Studio vision board, that's an ongoing project. That's important. Video ideas, that had to be done straight away. So that was the 3 I set up. Then I started my daily logging. This is not a vitally important one. It can wait. And after a couple of days of going, I can't be bothered to do that right now. Can't be bothered. I went, you know what? I'm just going to add those pages to the index for now and worry about it later. So that's what I did. I crossed that task out. It's no longer relevant. And I put added to index for now. And then on here I wrote media and recs 6/8/31. So that's no longer bothering me. Because when I come across another few and I think, I've got quite a few of these now. How many have I got? Oh, crikey, I've got 7 different pages with these listed on. I'm never going to remember what's on each page. Time to start a collection. Because a collection is going to be 2 pages. Do I want to waste 2 pages on a podcasts and media rec that's only 5 items long at the moment, or 3 items long at the moment? No. I might not have any more recs for 6 months, and then I've wasted 2 pages. So that's how I'm dealing with it. And all of this, I know a lot of, I often get feedback that people are like, well, you say there's more than one way to do things, but then you say you have to do it like this. And I'm like, no, that's just the way my voice is. I'm not saying you have to do it this way. The surgeries are for you to say, right, I'm having an issue with this. And I say, okay, well, I'm doing it like this. The rest of the community chimes in as they're doing and says, oh, well, actually, I'm doing it like this. I'm doing it like that. Have you thought about doing it this way? It's an opportunity for us to brainstorm together and say, okay, well, I'm stuck. I'm out of ideas. Anybody got a great idea for doing this? Or passing on things. Here's a good one. Those of you with kids. I didn't write down the article. because it didn't occur to me that this would be useful. But now, of course, it is useful, and I wish I'd written it down. But you'll find it. It's quite easy to find. There is a woman who came up with a new way of pocket money earning. The traditional chores method of pocket money is you have kids, they have jars, and when they complete their chores, you add up how much they have at the end of the week and you give them that money. That teaches them that they can earn money. But if they're lazy and they don't have any priority on money, or if they're lazy or they don't have any priority on money, which actually would count on me. Money is only important in the fact that I have to do things like paying rent. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. If I've got money, I spend it. If I haven't got money, I don't spend it. It's that simple. But I have to just have my baseline. Some people don't have a value on things like that. And some kids have that mindset. So what she did was, instead of saying, okay, you have to earn your money, I'm going to force you to earn it, she says, okay, at the beginning of the week, you've both got £10. There's your £10 in the jar, on the shelf above the fridge, where you can see it. That's your £10. Now, if you do all your chores on Friday, you'll keep that £10 and you'll get it and you can go and spend it at the weekend on whatever you like. But if I find that you haven't made your bed, or you haven't put your towels in the wash, or you've left them all over the floor or whatever, this is the list of things I expect you to keep up to date with. And if you haven't done them, every time you haven't done it, I'm going to deduct 50p from your £10. And she said within a few days, it was amazing how they suddenly had the motivation, because they could see the £10 and they wanted that £10. They'd already mentally spent that £10. And she said, my kids' rooms have never been so tidy. So that's a little tip for parents. I'm not a parent, but I thought it was a great idea. And if it works, right? Because there's always no amount of money as a child would have motivated me to say, okay, I'm going to hoover my bedroom. It's hard to get me to do it now as an adult. Have you tried bullet journaling for projects yet? I'm not sure how to tackle that, nor am I. The nearest I've got, I do have passion projects. So my passion project for this month, this is something that Ryder talks about, is when you have a long-term goal, do something that you enjoy as a passion project to further you towards that goal. So one of the things I'm trying to do is work on my word of the year. I'm trying to get organised and feel less stressed and less rushed and less like the world is coming at me instead of I'm going through life. So my passion project this month, of course, is One Book July, the bullet journal method. So for that, I've basically just got collection pages. So in here, I've broken it up. So I've got One Book July stuff, because obviously I've got One Book July ideas and things for organising One Book July, because I'm not just doing it, I'm helping to organise it. And then I've got the bullet journal method, which is part of the challenge that I'm doing alongside you. So I've got it in two separate things. So my One Book Julys, I've got 9 and 10 and 29 and 30. 29 and 30 is my current notes on videos that I'm putting together. My videos are just in my video list. All of my videos are in one video list. I don't see the point in mentally splitting it out, because then I would concentrate on one and not do the other. So this is my current notes on my video lists. And then I've got the bullet journal method notes. So I've got 17 to 18 here, which is the only ones I've put in here at the moment. This is my notes on the bullet journal method, and I've already reviewed it, I can tell, because it's got red on. And my passion projects, here's a little thing that I've done, because I'm very visual. Too much writing puts me off. I don't want to have to keep reading stuff. That's why I use page flags. A lot of people are like, oh, you don't need page flags if you've got an index. I'm like, yeah, but I like my page flags because they're visual reminders. Here's my latest witchy stuff. Here's my July page. Here's today. Here's something important that I'm working on. What's that? Oh, it's my One Book July latest page. You know, it's useful to me to have my little page flags. I know what they are. I can access them easily. But when I'm flicking through my book, I tend to be flicking through like this. And I used to look at the bottom of the pages. I now look at the top of the pages because the top of the pages, I'm using up my little planner stickers. So for my index, I've got start here. And then I've got a couple of, like in my June calendar, the hottest day so far, 30 degrees, Litha, I put a little star planner. This is a monthly page, so I put a little diary sticker on it. Here's a June reflection, which is my reflection on the bullet journal method and how it's going for June. So I used a pair of glasses. Reflection. Get it? I couldn't find a sticker with a mirror, okay? So I went for glasses instead. Daily logs I haven't bothered with. Oh, here's a page for my passion project. It's got a heart. My passion project this month is One Book July, the bullet journal method. One Book July, heart. Nothing on that page. It's a daily thing. Urban Sketchers Stoke programme. It's got a little house on it. A star is my witchy stuff. Now, when I'm making notes in my journal, I use the same bullet points. So when I'm doing rapid logging, if I can find one. Oh, here we go. Here's a star. Astrology transits for July. That was a to-do list. A to-do. And I put a star next to it because there's witchy stuff. The water prompts for Midsummer Chronicles. I've got the same for things that I want to do for bullet journal method. So if I come up with an idea for the bullet journal method or something that I want to do or something that I want to look into further, I put a little heart next to it because it says, oh, that's to do with your passion project. So these little symbols match up with my bullet journal key. And I have thousands of these little things. I mean, who doesn't have... Anybody who's ever bought planner stickers has pages of this sort of stuff. You must be able to use it for something, right? I mean, maybe not the Korean stuff, unless you read Korean or understand Korean. But, you know, even that, I mean... Just because it's in Korean, I mean, I don't understand what it says, but it's writing. So why couldn't I use that for, here's a creative writing idea or something like that? Yeah, if I have, write a couple of notes about a creative writing idea, stick one of these next to it, I can see that that's writing. Oh, it's creative writing. I could do it like that. I've got... Obviously my passion project, my monthly, again, is a little diary, same as June. Things to post is a little red letterbox. I deliberately chose the red one so that it stood out because I forget to post things constantly. Studio vision board, I actually decided to put that under ideas, so that's a little lightning bolt. These are the Moleskine stickers, the Evernote Moleskine stickers, I've got hundreds of them. Little lightning bolt for ideas. A little video movie thing for my video ideas specifically. And so on. And I don't do this when I do the page. I don't spend time setting up the page. You know, here's my astrology. I didn't send time. Oh, let me go and find my little stickers. I didn't bother to do that. I set up my page. In fact, I didn't even set up my page. I just started writing. I've gone through and lined several of the pages, lined and numbered up to 100. I just did that while I was sat having a coffee the other day. I thought, what can I do while I'm sitting here? Oh, I know, I'll do that. So I don't even write the titles and stuff. I just started writing. And then during my reflection, I came back and I went, oh, okay, I need to sort that out. So astrology, July 2019. Oh, I know, I'll put a timeline in here. Oh, that's witchy stuff. Where's my little star stickers? You know, that's the kind of... In my art, I call it my knitting. It's a term that I got from Paul Heaston. He does urban sketching and he draws in pen. And he basically does his outlines and contours when he's on location. And anything that needs to be fine-tuned or, you know, cross-hatching or shading or anything like that, he doesn't bother with. He just kind of marks in where he wants it to be. And then when he's doing something where he can't really concentrate to do something else, but he wants to do something with his hands, he does his knitting, which is going into his sketches and going, oh, I didn't colour in that roof, I'll just colour that in now. You know, I'll colour that in from that sketch last week. And that's kind of how I'm treating my reflection. It's become my knitting. And I'm hoping to build in my journaling into my reflection. So periodically throughout the week, instead of going, oh, I need to sit down and do some journaling, I can put it in my task list and go, I need to journal about such and such. And then do it in my reflection later in the day. Rather than feeling like, oh, I need to go and do that now while I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to avoid that whole, mustn't forget to do this, mustn't forget to do that, I need to do that while I'm thinking about it. Because we all know what happens. You start going off to do that. You think, oh, I need to journal about that. I'll do that now while I'm thinking about it, okay? Then what happens? Well, in my case, the first thing I do is, I'll just go and get a cup of coffee. Well, that's the killer then, because by the time I've made a cup of coffee, I've either A, been distracted by something else that I need to do, B, got distracted by the dogs and thought, oh, it's cooled off a bit, I think I'll take them out for a walk, C, decided, you know what, I'm actually quite peckish, I might have lunch as well while I'm out in the kitchen. My phone's gone off and reminded me that I've got a doctor's appointment at 3 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, damn, I better go and do that while I'm at home. And I need to get that parcel ready to ship so that I can do that at the post office because it's next door to the doctor's. You know, and it's just this constant jumble of stuff going on in your head going, I must do this next, I must do this next, I mustn't forget to do that, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And that constant jumble of 15 squirrels all wanting to do different things at the same time is what I'm trying to avoid. So by saying, okay, I want to journal about this, in my head, and I really do this because I'm visual, I imagine that journal entry as a nut and I write that nut down. It just happens that events in the bullet journal look like circles and look like little nuts. So I put a little nut in my rapid log to say, event, I want to journal entry about, and then I'll just put a couple of keywords that will remind me what it is later. And then I give that nut to a squirrel in my brain and I say, okay, take this nut, look after it, bring it back to me later. And off he goes. That's how I imagine it in my head. In fact, it looks a lot like that scene from Willy Wonka. You know, with the bad nut? What's her name? Is it Veruca Salt? The stroppy girl. And all the little squirrels checking the nuts and throwing the bad ones down the funnel. Yeah, well, I'm like, right, okay, put this in your little box. Look after that one for me. Hey, it works, okay? If it works, don't knock it. I have a monthly insert for my TN. I won't be drawing in monthlies. Oh, right. So instead of having a monthly grid in your bullet journal, you've just got a monthly insert where you put your appointments. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good way of doing it. In fact, who was the girl who was using a pocket TN? That's an easy way you could do your forward planning, is just print out one of those little booklets. You can get them free on the internet. Just print it out on your printer, staple it together, fold it in half, and boom, you've got an appointments list. So you could do it like that. As long as you remember to check in your appointments list every time you check in with your reflections, you're not going to have a problem. It wouldn't work for me because I wouldn't check another book. I couldn't make the bullet journal work for me until I started using the index for certain things. Yeah, I'm starting to see that there is a use for the index. I don't think putting absolutely everything in the index is necessary for me, but I can see uses for it. I think it's going to be more a case of when I go through my reflections, deciding what I need to put in the index and what I don't. I don't use my bullet journal for journaling or long notes. Those go in a specific place. Yeah, but you can do it for short notes. As something comes into your brain during the day, you can make a short note like I do, you know, just to remind yourself what you did, if nothing else, you know. 1 p.m. on Monday, I decided to go and sit in Costa to clear my head and get right with the world. Panic attacks over. Sorted my meds out. Turns out doctor made a mistake about getting my meds wrong. You know, so I now know. I'd forgotten about that. It's only Wednesday. That was on Monday. Monday morning I went to collect my meds and they weren't there. It was because the doctor made a mistake. So I had to go and sort that out, and I had a panic attack about it. Well, I nearly had a panic attack about it. Risha messaged me just as I was about to have a panic attack. But I made a note of that because I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to do longhand journaling about that. So I'll remember now where it was. Have you had any light bulb moments for yourself? Oh, Lisa. It's not so much a case of light bulb moments. It's more a case of a string of fairy lights that keep flashing on and off. Yeah. I can't stop having light bulb moments. Every 5 minutes I see something new, either in the book that I read before and I read it again and I'm like, oh, I didn't read it that way the first time. And then I listen to the audiobook and I'm like, oh, when you hear him say it, it means something completely different. You're like, oh, that's what he meant. Or you read an article and you go, oh, I like that idea. So yeah, for me, it's like just strobe lights, frankly. Everything is light bulb moments for me at the moment. I like the index broken down into months and then collections. That way I can have my collections somewhere. Yes, that would work. Now that's something that could work for me, actually. Having my months here with my just random stuff. And then the important things like my passion project stuff, my video ideas, stuff like that. I don't have to have everything over here, but there are things that I could do with having out of this list. So that, yes, that could work. And I might do that, actually. Let me write that down. Note. Rapid log. Here we go. I don't need to do that right away. First thing, if with something like this, I always write down who says it. Collections together. Put my collections somewhere else. So Kelly Wood. Bloody pens. Kelly Wood. Break index into months plus collections. I like that idea. And I will put a question mark at the end because I don't know if it's something I want to do. When I do my review and reflection later, that will be something I look at and I go, oh, yeah, okay, how could I do that? How could it work? Or I'll put it there and go, okay, I'll put that on my monthly log as something I could do later in the month. I might put it as a task here, as a during monthly migration at the end of the month, look at the index, review the index. Do I have to do it right now? No. Do I need to do it right now? No. I'm liking that idea for collections. I missed that, so. For a while I did my long form journaling and my bullet journaling in the same book, but I write quite a bit, so it became unwieldy to flip the pages. Yeah, I write a lot, but honestly, my writing's so tiny it doesn't matter for me. But if you're doing a lot of art or something like that, or a lot of decorating or whatever, if you're doing more than just writing, or you've got big writing, or you write masses, then it's probably better to just have a separate notebook. But you can still use your bullet journal to log basic stuff and basic events. That's what Ryder does. And he talked about the other day, this was in one of his blog posts, writing a note and a way to do it. So what he's started doing, like this is I use a time because I like to know when I did this. I put a note in here that can go in my journal. I might want to do long form journal about it. I might not. I might leave it as this. I might decide I don't really need to look at it. If I decide to put this in a long form journal, I have a link. What Ryder does is he puts it in as a dot, and he puts journal entry, and then he makes notes about the journal entry. And then he turns the dot into a plus sign to show that it's got a longer journal entry, and then when he does his long form journal entry, he'll go and write it here, and then he puts the page number. So he'll have a plus and then page number, and then he can go to that page number and see the long version of that journal entry. I'm doing it slightly different. I write down a time and what journal entries I want to put in. So you'll see those sporadically through, because I like to write short journal entries when I'm thinking. Like this one, 11 a.m. Didn't do my reflection last night, woke up with racing thoughts. Well, I know what that means, and I know that that's something that I'll want to explore at some point. So as part of that, I decided to look at it and decide, how do I want to do this? How does my reflection work? How does my keys work? And what I've decided is that I'm going to use his plus sign. So I'm going to put, for instance, let me do it in pencil so I know it's not actual thing. So plus page 37. So when I do that, I've got writing on page 37. I know that. If I have these ones, stars with circles around them, oh, I have an idea. Those are my aha moments. So when I have or actually what somebody called a light bulb moment, I can't be bothered drawing a light bulb, so I just draw a star with a circle around it. That's a really important one. So, light bulb moment. Reflection is really important. Do it twice a day if you think you need to or not. Stars. Light bulb moment. I don't like dots. They get lost on the page. These. Light bulb moment. The app is a digital module to bolt on, not an alternative. See, that's my light bulb moments. And if I want to expand on any of those, whether they're long form journaling, reviewing a creative idea, what was it I was talking about earlier where I had an idea and then I wanted to expand on it? Oh, like that there. Break the index into months and collections. I might want to write about that and come up with some ideas and brainstorm it before I actually decide to do it. Maybe I want to sort out how I think it could work. So I could, put a plus sign next to that, turn that into a plus with a circle and a page number, and then I can go to here. Okay, so indexes, thoughts on using an index or whatever. And then I can, it's 2 pages, but you always use 2 pages for a page, for a collection. And collections includes long form journaling, creative notes, ideas, that kind of thing. So I always use a 2-page spread. That way, if I write that much, I can always come back and add to it. I might be back here and suddenly realise that the index is more important than I thought. I can go back to this page, put in the date and start writing here again, without having to start yet another page. With really small writing, it's important that I use up space. I don't mind you leaving that kind of space on a page. I can always just put something sticky in there if I want to, or just leave it, or whatever. But I don't want to leave half empty pages. This guy was on my calendar last month and I fell in love with him. He's just so cute. Yesterday I did a oracle reading, and the oracle came up with this card, be present, which is my mantra, be more dog. It's also what bullet journaling is all about, being mindful, being present, looking at things and thinking about them, taking the time to notice the details. So I decided that when I turned my calendar over, I would cut him out and put him in here, and I wrote about the oracle reading. So I've got the notes from the back of the card, why I did the oracle reading in the first place, some notes about what I thought of the oracle reading, and then I had a big space here, so I thought, oh, I'll put in my mantra, be more dog. We take our kids to cons so they earn spending money on big stuff at upcoming conventions. It really motivates them because stuff from... They're turning into nerdy collectors and that stuff's expensive, yeah. Oh, if you've already got motivated kids, then it doesn't help. But, you know, there was nothing I'm not materialistic particularly, so there was nothing I really, 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 really wanted badly enough to save up that kind of money for. This is like how he talks about breaking down goals into sprints and tasks. Exactly. If it hasn't come out of Ryder's mouth, Ryder's book, or my brain, it's not going in here. I'm taking a completely purist view. And I am developing this in the way that I like to develop it. I'm a visual person, so for me it makes sense to have a few photos, a few pictures, use my little planner stickers. I love my planner stickers, you know I love my planner stickers, but I don't want to decorate. But functional stickers, that's the kind of decoration I can get behind. If I come to this page later and I think, oh, you know, that's kind of bugging me. That's a daily log. And that's a witchy thing, and that space is kind of bugging me. I'll put a bit of washi tape across it, and that fills that space, and that's done. And it won't bother me anymore. But at the moment, the space isn't bothering me, because this is a creative idea I had for the witchy idea, and I haven't reviewed that yet. I know I haven't reviewed it yet, because, and this is where my 4-colour pen comes in. That's not the right 4-colour pen. My 4-colour pen got thrown across the room just now. Here's another one. My 4-colour pen, my passion project, red is the colour of passion, right? So, my passion project, anything One Book July or bullet journal, when I review it, I write in red. So on my One Book July pages, I've got red editions. It's not colour coding precisely, it's simply that I like to take a lot of notes, I like to review my notes, and I like to see where things are the first iteration or something I've added later. That's all it is. I don't need to know if it's something that I added way later. If I added something to this page like in 6 months, I wouldn't add it to this page, I'd start another page. It would be separate. But when I was reviewing this page, I had some ideas, and then I came back and did some more ideas later. So those are in red because they're a passion project. Green is for witchy stuff. So my astrology page and stuff. Have I got my astrology page? Oh, there it is. Couldn't see the sticker. See, this is why I use page flags. So my astrology page, I put all my transits and things in. I put in some information. And then I've gone back in and I've started making notes, and they're in green. So I know I've started reviewing this page. I know I've had additional notes. And then stuff that's just for me, well, I'm a Ravenclaw, therefore my colour is blue. So if it's blue, it's either a journal entry. So this journal entry has got a blue box around it. That means I've reread that journal entry. I've thought about it. I decided I didn't need to do a longhand version of it, so I just marked the box. This one is a green one. Do I need to expand on that journal entry? No, I turned it into a blog post for my class. I don't have a journal entry for today yet. I've probably got journal entries where they've just got a black box, in which case I haven't decided if I want to long form journal about them or not yet. So that's how I'm using my 4-colour pen. Everything else gets written in black because the majority of my pens are black. And I always have one of these on me somewhere. There's always one within reach. Because this is the pen that I draw with. So, yeah, I've always got a black pen. I can write in black and then I can do my reviews. I don't mind spending 2 minutes just when I'm going to do a review. I'm going to sit down, do my review and reflection, grab a drink, find somewhere comfy to sit. Oh, and I need my coloured pen. pick that up, sit down, get on with it. That's preparation. That's okay. How long do I keep my receipts in? Only until they're no longer relevant. These are postal receipts. They've got tracking numbers on. This one has been delivered and it's sorted. And this one should be delivered today or tomorrow. So I'm just waiting to get confirmation that it's arrived. And then both of these will get clipped together, put in my expenses log and filed away in my book thing. So I'm only keeping these in as long as they're relevant. If I had maybe bought a freezer or something and I needed to keep the receipt in here for the warranty information or anything like that, or you keep your receipt for the first 30 days just in case something goes horribly wrong, and then once you're happy with it and you're outside, you're in your warranty period and all that kind of stuff, you take that receipt and you put it in your important paperwork folder in the kitchen drawer, right? Well, that's what I do with mine. So that's what I would do with it. So I'm only keeping it in here as long as it's relevant. And the only reason there's two in here, one's already dealt with and the other one isn't, I simply took this one from the front and put it at the back. Because my brain, I would look at that and go, hang on a minute, I had another one. What's happened to that? Oh, no, it's okay. I already dealt with that one. Did I put it in my box though? No. Instead of doing that, when I've finished both of these, I will put an event on this page saying item number, reference number, whatever, delivered, filed, put on expenses, put in the box. So I know it's in there. So then when I come back to this page and I go, hang on a minute, didn't I have some receipts here somewhere? Oh, hang on. I filed them away. That's done. So the only things that are in here are things that are relevant. And the other thing I'm doing is when I'm finished a page, like this page, it's got blue writing on, so it's already been reviewed. I've already done my reflection. I've already transferred things, so I've got stuff that's marked. I've got stuff that's gone into the index. I've got stuff that I've starred. I've ticked off everything. Everything's finished. I wrote down expenses that I needed to log. I didn't put a box around those, but I have logged them. I know I have. So that page is finished. So when the page is finished, I put a little box next to the page. That's why I use this. You see, anything that's got things to do on it. Not every single page. I don't have one here. But any page that's got things I need to complete, or stuff that I need to review, or stuff that I need to come back to, has a little checkbox on it. When that checkbox is filled in, I know I've reviewed that page and I don't ever have to look at it again unless I need to go and get information from it. That's proving to be really useful because I can flip through and go, okay, where am I up to with my reflections? Oh, I'm partway through this page. Oh, that's the Urban Sketches stuff. That's ongoing. That's okay. Oh, I haven't done this one yet. I do bookwork twice a week, so my receipts stay in there until I do my bookwork. Yeah, that's another way of doing it. Either until those receipts are finished with, or until you do your bookwork, and then you take all your receipts out. I don't have that many receipts, so I just stapled them I just stuck them to the page. Same with notes and stuff, or forms I have to fill in, stuff I have to send back, anything like that. If I get a letter in the mail that says you have to call such and such and make an appointment about this, I don't bother worrying about it. I just clip it into my book, and at some point it'll get logged and dealt with, and then once it's dealt with, the paper goes. You found a missing item for Risha. Almost. Awesome. Cody is 5 for 5 on finding stuff that we've lost. She's really good at it. I think we've discovered a new skill that she's good at. Love seeing your bullet journal in action. Well, I'm glad it's useful. The advantage of having really tiny writing and not a big personal life is that I can show you my bullet journal. Somebody said to me, oh, you had your phone number and everything showing on your bullet journal the other day. That's my work information. It's not even my personal number, it's my work information. Because I don't give anybody my personal information, I wouldn't put it in something that I could potentially leave anywhere. So I give my work information because my work information is public anyway. It's public record. I don't need to put my private number in the front of my bullet journal. In fact, I'm more likely to answer my work phone than my private phone, if I'm honest. This way of using paper is kind of liberating. I don't know why I've always felt paper is so precious. Well, you know, in a way, it is. Save the trees, y'all. But if you already own a notebook that's blank, even one notebook that's blank, you've already wasted a tree and a half. So pull that notebook out and start using it, because until it's actually used for something, written on, used for doing things, then you haven't fulfilled its potential. It's just a notebook. You might as well not have it. You've just wasted a tree. Whereas if it's a book that you've written in, it means something to you, you've got a bond with it, you've created something, then you haven't wasted a tree. That's how I look at it. Just write the damn things out and stop being a control freak. Well, now, as a control freak, I can tell you that a really good way to think of it is, with my bullet journal, I am taking agency over my own life again. I am taking back control from all these things that keep bombarding me and saying, you have to do this, you've got 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 to do this, don't forget to do this, you've got to do this. I'm taking that back and saying, I will deal with it when I'm ready to do it in my way. And I'm using my book to be even more of a control freak than I normally am. So think of your book as somewhere that your inner control freak can live happily. That's how I'm doing it. I'm not worrying about... My control freak is no longer worried about whether I'm writing neatly or whether I'm wasting pages or, you know, what happens if I decide at the end of the month I don't actually want to do this. I'm not worrying about that. Because right now, my inner control freak is way too busy filling in little boxes, writing things down, having little ideas and going, hey, we could use this symbol for such and such. Oh, we haven't done any journaling this week. We could do some of that tomorrow in tomorrow's reflection. How can I put that in my rapid log? You know, my inner control freak is having a whale of a time right now because she is so busy. Nora is in her element. She's got her librarian glasses on. She's got her little twin set on. She's like patting her bun. Let's go. Come on, we've got this. She's really having it. So she doesn't care about my writing right now. She's too busy ticking off boxes. And by the time I've done all this writing, my writing will have improved anyway. So by the time she notices that my writing actually really isn't that neat, she'll look at it and go, well, at least it's legible. Maybe that's something we could work on in the future. Put it on the rapid log, you know. Keep your inner control freak busy with more important things than, oh, I might be wasting a piece of paper. I'm finding that by actually writing everything in one book, even just quick notes, I'm putting more in my long form books because I remember it and then I sit down to journal or plan. Yes, same. Although I haven't done any long form journaling, it's in my head. I just haven't written it down yet. My brain is constantly doing several things at once, and at the moment it's working on three journal entries and a blog post. So that's my normal functioning. But it's able to work on 3 journal entries and a blog post because I'm writing everything down. It's able to go away and do that. Nora's busy filling out boxes and forms and working on stuff without bothering me, which leaves me free to sit here for 2 hours and chat with you guys and help you with your issues and come up with ideas and brainstorm things and show you how I'm doing stuff without thinking, oh my God, I need to remember I've got an appointment later. I've got an appointment. 7 or 8. 7 or 8. Is Risha still here? I don't know. I have to check. I don't have to, because My phone's going to go off because Nora already decided that we were going to need an appointments thing. So in about 12 minutes, my phone will go off. So if I haven't wrapped up by then, I need to. And when I wrap up, I will find out if Rish is about and see whether we're going to do it straight away or in an hour. We're going to do it in an hour because I haven't eaten. So pretty simple. But because I've taken that weight of writing all these things down, I'm not thinking, I have to write that down, I have to do this, I have to do that, I mustn't forget this. I'm free to go, I'll write those on my log. I missed one of the YouTube questions. Right, what was it? Burgess and her rapid logging, Ashley and her motivation, and who was the other one? Was it Lisa? Light bulb moments. That was Lisa. And I'm writing that down because when I do my review, I might think of something that I didn't think to say here. And then that'll be another video I can do. Issue with wrapping my head around having collections. It was Kelly. There we go. Kelly. Collections. And when to set up. The other thing that, being dyslexic, I make a lot of mistakes. I've just realised I put when with an H. I spelt my name wrong earlier. But that becomes something that Nora now pokes her head up over the desk and goes, you spelt that wrong, did you know? And then she goes away and goes back to whatever she was thinking about. As opposed to sitting here and going, oh, you're so stupid. Where's your correction tape? You need to change that. Look, you need to change it. You need to fix that. No, I don't need to fix it. I spelt it wrong. Who cares? It's only for me, and I'll just look at it and go, look at that. I spelt went with an H. That's clever. Get it out of your head and onto paper. Yeah. And the great thing is, when you do your reflections, if you're doing your reflections properly, stuff that you've got out of your head onto paper, sometimes it feels like, oh, that's really important. I must remember to do that. Or I must remember to think about, to do. And then all of a sudden you think, that's not really as important as I initially thought it was. I don't care if that happens or not. And you cross it out and it's a great feeling. Just crossing it out and going, no, I don't want to do that. I've changed my mind about that. Because you're allowed to change your mind. Because you've got thinking room. You are no longer that rabbit caught in the headlights going, yes, of course I'll go to George's party on Friday. You don't like George. You don't have to go to his party. So you give yourself thinking room and say, well, I think I've got something on Friday, but I'll double check and get back to you, okay? Thinking room. Go and read a book when you finish, right? Because you're reading the bullet journal method at the moment, and that's important. We're doing that this month. Holy cow, that bumblebee's huge. Sorry, he's massive. He was a good inch across and a good inch and a half long. He was really big. Put on your book list, or, if you've got a book list, I haven't got a book list. I've got a monthly list. In fact, I'm going to put it on my month list now. Here's my monthly list. I need to find a new tag for that. Note. Next month, book the life-changing magic. I don't know how she got away with that because it must be copyright. The life-changing magic of not giving two hoots. That's your book to read for August. Write it on your list. You need to read that book, especially if you have trouble saying no. I've never had trouble saying no. I've always been one of those people who go, nah, you're all right. And 9 times out of 10, people go, oh, why? Because they don't really expect an answer, or they expect you to come up with an excuse that they can then talk you into it. But I say things, when I say things like, no, I don't want to. No, thanks. Here's some for the collection, but I'm not coming to the party. Oh, aren't you? Why? Because I really don't want to. I don't like George. I'm sorry, that's me. I just... Sometimes telling the truth is the easiest way. I might not go as far as saying, well, I don't like George, not in a work environment. But, you know, that's what my brain would want to say. That's what came out of my mouth. I would not say, I'm sorry. And that's one of the things that she taught. I'm sure her name's Sarah. She talks about in this book. When you give an excuse, it's not an excuse. Think of it as a reason, and therefore don't apologise for it. You're allowed to say no. You're an adult. So you don't say, I'm sorry, I can't make it. I'm going to a friend's party, or I'm away that weekend. You don't apologise for it. Why do you have to apologise for it? I can't do Friday. I'm going to be away this weekend. Sorry, not sorry. Why say sorry when you're not sorry? Don't apologise. Save your apologies for things that matter. So when you've already said, oh yes, I'll come to Karen's leaving do, because you like Karen and you wouldn't mind going out with the girls. You haven't all gone out and let your hair down since the last time somebody left 3 years ago. So yeah, okay, well let's go to Karen's leaving do. I'd quite enjoy popping along for an hour or so. And then you go and double book yourself. And what you've double booked yourself with is more important. Then you apologise and you say, I'm so sorry. I've gone and double booked myself for this. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it after all. But I will try. And then you genuinely try and you say, well, okay, could I just pop down for half an hour, be sociable, have a quick drink, say goodbye to Karen, wish her luck, sign her leaving card, and then get the hell out of there, get home, get changed really fast and go out and do what I need to do. You don't have... Exactly, Cody. The simple answer is no, you don't have to give a reason. You are not in school anymore. You don't have to justify your answers. If your answer is no, your answer is no. And if people push you for the answer, then they've got to expect to not like the answer you give, which is... because I really don't want to. And the bonus of that is that when you start taking agency and control of your own life and saying, I don't want to give my time to that, or I don't want to give my Fs to that, I want to give it somewhere else, you take back control and you feel better about it because you've said, no, I don't want to do that. What I really want to do on Friday evening after work is go home, put my feet up, and maybe sit in the garden with my journal or my book. That's what you would rather do. Is it important to you? Does it matter? If it matters to you that after a long day of work, a long weekend of work, you don't... I work weekends, can you tell? After a long week of work, you don't say, oh yeah, the thing I'd really love to do is go out partying with the people I've just spent 40 hours of my life with that I don't actually like. Or would you rather go home, curl up on the sofa with your dog and read a good book? I'm in for the good book. I'm choosing to say, my dog matters to me. My book matters to me. Spending alone time at home matters to me. Spending time with people in a pub I don't like, doing something I don't want to do, for a person I don't care if I ever see again, and I've actually only ever spoken to once anyway because he works in a different building. Weigh the two up and say, okay, which would I rather do? And don't allow people to make you feel guilty for doing things that you didn't want to do in the first place. You're allowed to say, thank you for the offer, but no. The same goes for when people give you stuff. I watched a video the other day of, so I'm just keeping an eye on the time. I watched a video the other day called Swedish Death Cleaning. Now, the concept behind it is that in Sweden, I don't know if it's a big thing or a new thing or whatever, but the concept is that you clear out all the crap from your own life so that if you die, the people who are left don't have to deal with it. It's kind of like minimalism, but you're thinking more in terms of, am I holding on to this? You know, you very often hold on to things with the idea of, I'm going to use it one day. But then, you know, you could get run over by a bus tomorrow, and are you ever going to use it in reality? Or have you just been hanging on to it for the last 3 years just because? So bearing in mind, rather than does it bring joy to you, for some people, having lots of things and hoarding things and keeping things just in case. Maddie, stop eating the flowers. It brings them joy. It makes them happy. So they will hoard stuff. If you think of it in terms of, if I died tomorrow, would I want my mum and dad or my sister or my son or whatever to have to go through all this and deal with it and clear all this out and think of something to do with it? You keep that in mind instead, and that helps you get rid of crap that you don't need. That's an interesting way of looking at it. So that's an example of doing it in a practical way. And that's what I'm kind of trying to do with my bullet journal in a mental way. You know, just because my squirrels have come up with an idea doesn't mean it's a good idea, doesn't mean it's something that I want to follow through on, and doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for me, even if it's the best idea ever. And that amount of pause and reflection gives me time to say, you know what? That's not going to be useful for me, but somebody else might find it useful, and therefore the hashtag RoseBuJo hack was born, because I put it on a thing, I tried it for a couple of days, didn't work for me, but I thought somebody else might find it useful. Your big thing is saying sorry and apologising all the time. Yeah, if you're not sorry, don't say sorry. That's your inner cancer, Burgess. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so you say sorry a lot. Yeah, British people say it just because that's what we're supposed to say. We have to be polite. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but... No, I'm sorry, but... Sorry, not sorry. It's also called Jade. Don't justify, argue, defend, or explain. No is a complete sentence. Oh, I like that. Oh, I love that. I'm writing that down. That's going on the rapid log. Okay, so this is something that is a creative idea that I really like. What am I going to do with it? Well, I use a arrow key for this. I put a little fire symbol, up arrow, whatever you call it. It just fits the circles and squares thing, to be honest. Something to think about. Aha! Or not aha moments, but something to think about. Jade. Don't justify, argue, defend, or explain. No is a complete sentence. I really like that. That's very cool. And then at the end I will put Amber, because that's who said it and where it came from. So if I need to revisit it, where did you hear that from? Oh, do you know where that comes from? Etc, etc. I know who said it to me and why. So that triangle now is one of my notes. It's in my I'm going to do a thing on my key on Friday. But that's a creative idea. I want to think about it. Ooh, something to action. So I use a little fire symbol, triangle. And when I've done that and reflected on it and thought about it, or rewritten it as a nice quote in my journal or sketchbook or whatever, or done something with it, I will colour that in, just like I would with a task. I have to stop now because if I don't stop now, my dinger is going to go off telling me that I've got an appointment. Risha, are you okay for an hour's time? It's 7 o'clock my time now. We said either 7 or 8. Are we okay with 8? Because I'm hungry. I need to eat. My muckie's getting a workout with all the notes I'm taking. I can't write fast enough. If you can't write fast enough, try dictating to your phone and then writing it down later. I get that sometimes. My squirrels go a bit too fast for me. I don't have all my ducks in a row. I have squirrels and they're at a rave. Somebody sent that to me the other day. I was like, oh yeah, I like it. I also apologise a lot and I need to stop doing that, especially because it's towards my family and they should be able to understand. Yeah, if there's one group of people that you shouldn't have to apologise to, it's your family. I've stopped saying sorry unless I actually am sorry. And I stopped doing that a long ass time ago. My hubby just came home and said hi to all of you. He calls us Romany's Ramblers. Oh my God, what an awesome name for my patrons. I've been, because I run classes, so I call people my students. I call people my patrons. I haven't had a really good name for them. I love that. Can we use that? Can you tell your hubby that that's awesome and we'd really like to use it? Because the funny thing is, the channel that I've set up that's going to be where I put my podcast that I'm working on is called Romany's Ramblings. It's not public yet, so don't bother. But yeah, it's called Romany's Ramblings. That's what my podcast's going to be called. So calling you lot Romany's Ramblers is awesome. Because boy, can we chat. Thank you, Mr. Lisa. I love that. Jack. So that was Jack. Jack Osland. Ugh, can't spell that. Osland. AKA Mr. Lisa. Thank you very much, Jack. That's awesome. Eventually I might have thought of that myself, but I love it. I love it. Romany's Ramblers. New hashtag, guys. Okay, I'm stopping it there. Did Risha get back to me? Yes, that's okay for you. Okay, round about 8 o'clock-ish, but you know what I'm like for not being quite on time because I needed to let the dogs out or something, so I will grab something quick to eat and take the dogs to the park, and I will be back to deal with you at 8 o'clock. Thank you guys for joining me. Tomorrow I have a video going up on reflection. Long one tomorrow. Long video. 45 minutes on reflection. It's something that I do a lot as a journaler, as a writer, as a teacher, as an artist. I'm always doing reflection. It's something I actually know about. So that's going up tomorrow. If you are a patron, if you're one of Romany's Ramblers, I love that idea. You can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month and you get any pre-recorded videos in advance. So if you want to see that video today instead of tomorrow, ad-free, you can go over there. You will also get the Friday one tomorrow instead of Friday, and so on. So if you're interested in that, help support me, pay my rent and stuff, that's perfect. You do not have to, of course. because the videos are going to go up on here anyway. But you do get extra benefits if you're a patron. Everything I do is free. It's available, but if it's freely available, it's also monetized because I gotta live, y'all. But if you want to help me demonetize my YouTube channel, come over and be a patron and get some extra perks. Or, sorry, I got distracted. Oh, Burgess, you've signed up for a reading. Awesome. Yeah, sign up as a patron, or we're doing the inspiration class again this month. I'm running part 2. So if you're interested in vaguely witchy, journal-y type stuff and creativity and inspiration, and you want to do a little bit of exploring the elements of earth, air, fire, water and spirit to enhance your creativity or refill that well, as what's her name? The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron calls it, then we've just started today. Well, we started Monday, but first week starts today. Come on over and join us. It's $30 for the month on my website, which is right there, RhomanysRealm.org.uk. And even if you don't want to do a class, come and sign up because it's free. And we've got a library and resources and chat rooms and all sorts. And you can come and play. Thank you very much. I am off. We'll do another one of these surgeries next week because we'll all be a little bit further into our bullet journals next week. We may have come across other things, and when we get to the point where people don't have issues, they've got new creative ideas of their own, we'll start sharing creative ideas instead of just looking at problems people are having as well. Okay? I will see you again very soon. Take care. Bye.